As I get older, and with every passing year after the age of 60, and I'm 64 now, I'm finding myself making more and more effort to avoid people. Is there something wrong with me? Well, in this video, let's get into the reasons why. 12 months ago, I made a video titled, "Why I'm Avoiding People After 60 Is Not What You Think." It proved to be a very popular video with over 400,000 people having watched it to date. Well, in this video, I'm going to explore the topic a little bit further because now that I'm 1 year older, nearly 65 years of age, I'm finding that I'm making even more effort to avoid people. And there are some reasons why. Back in 2021, my wife and I made the decision to downsize our property. We lived in the countryside in a big old house that we'd raised our family in, and we just got to the point in life where we just fancied a change, and we made the decision to move into this beautiful city of York, into an old Georgian townhouse that was about half the size of our old property. And on balance, it's been the right decision. The thing that's been positive is the convenience. Doctors, shops, dentists, restaurants, everything is so convenient, and life in the city has been pretty good until recently. There has been this niggling doubt recently about our safety. We've started to feel a little bit unsafe. Things have been happening in the last 12 months to make us feel like this. And I'll tell you a little bit more about them in this video. We found ourselves spending most of our time in the city, taking advantage of the convenience that I talked about earlier, going out at the last minute for meals, and just generally enjoying ourselves. But over the last 6 months in particular, I found myself jumping in my car and driving out of the city to enjoy myself, getting out into the countryside for long walks with my wife and on my own, and just generally feeling better when I'm not in the city. I don't know if it's my imagination, but it just feels like the city is just so much more crowded than it used to be. York itself is a tourist hotspot. It does get a lot of tourists. There are a lot of foreign tourists coming over from the Far East. I'm not sure if they're Chinese or Koreans or Japanese, but there are a lot of them. There are also a lot of students from the Far East. York is a student city. There are 2 big universities here, and they have a large overseas population. Also, just at the end of the street from us, there's a language school where there are a lot of students from the Middle East. Now, I'm a bit old-fashioned. I was brought up to open doors for ladies, to be polite, to wait in the queue, just generally behave myself. But the thing I've noticed with the students in particular, and in particular the overseas students, is that they seem to live by a different set of rules. When you go to the local supermarket, it feels like a bit of a battleground with them. They're bumping into you, they're on their phones, not taking any notice. They certainly don't open doors for people. Their priority seems to be themselves. And I found it increasingly hard to put up with that kind of behaviour. Now, I didn't think I'd ever hear myself saying this, but my wife and I have started looking at other properties outside of the city, in small villages, not that far away, only 3, 4, 5 miles away, but it is something we're thinking about. And it is the crowdedness of York and the fact it's a tourist hotspot and the behaviour of these student types that are influencing us. The other thing about York is it does seem to be a bit of a destination for rowdy people from particularly the northeast of England who come down on the train from places like Newcastle to celebrate hen nights. The city on a Saturday night is a hell of a noisy city. Well, there's a lot of drunken behaviour, and if you're anywhere near the railway station at about 10 o'clock at night, all you'll see are police and drunken young people dressed in skimpy clothes in the middle of winter, jumping back on trains, heading back up to the northeast of England. It's also popular for weekend stayovers. People coming to spend Friday and Saturday night in the city, and in a lot of cases drinking far too much alcohol. Now, the way we're positioned with our house is we're not that far away from one or two of the popular hotels, and we do find in the middle of the night that there's a lot of drunken behaviour at around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, a lot of shouting and arguing and just general behaviour that you get when people are drunk, as the young people are heading back from the nightclubs to these hotels. So my wife and I are thinking, would life possibly be better out of the city? Would we miss the things that we've got used to? The local drunks are actually gathering down near the local convenience store. They also get handouts from the local Methodist church. They are a rowdy bunch. I mean, these are people that don't live by normal rules. They swear, they're just generally loud, they leave their rubbish and the litter just lying around, and they also think it's okay to urinate and defecate in the alleys around where we live. Sometimes you do get the odd one of them getting abusive to passers-by, and my wife and I have been subject to that behaviour. We have had the F word thrown at us, where some drunken youth basically asking us what we're looking at as we walk along our own street where we live. And recently the police were called when some of these drunken youths decided it was okay to start kicking the hell out of the signboard for the Methodist Church. This last 12 months in particular, I found myself staying at home more. We don't go out nearly as much as we used to do. The behaviour that I've talked about in this video is definitely affecting us. We don't go to the supermarket as much as we used to do. We order online and get an online delivery. When it comes to eating out, we're not doing as much of that, and if we do eat out, we jump in the car and we drive out to the countryside to a pub. Other than that, we tend to use the delivery service. So it begs the question, what's the point in living in the city? There are some positives that have come out of this situation. Staying at home more often means that I've been doing a lot more cooking and a lot more baking, preparing some meals for myself and my wife, and I really enjoy doing that. It's an interest, so that's a positive thing. Not just that, we've been having family and friends around more often for these kind of things, and I do enjoy small intimate gatherings with family and friends, so that's a positive as well. The older I've got, the less tolerant I've become of hanging around waiting at restaurants. I don't really enjoy the restaurant experience, if I'm honest. Restaurants mean people, and as I've said earlier, I've been avoiding people after the age of 60. What do you think? Is it an age-related thing, this avoiding people? Is it because of my personality? Is it introversion? What's really going on? I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts are. Please leave a comment. I'd also be interested to hear your story. What are you like? If you're in your 60s, do you find yourself changing? Is your attitude towards people different? Another question I ask myself is it a generational thing? Are young people worse behaved than we once were? Or am I just imagining it? Is it just simply a case that you get to an age and you just forget what things were like in the past? You know, it's always easy to think that things were better when you were younger. I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts are. You might want to watch the other video that I mentioned earlier. You could call it part 1. I'll leave a link in the description. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.